Programming is so essential to where we are now and then also to the future. Our students need to be able to program. When you get into these jobs, when they get into industry, they should be familiar with it. With the Wolfram language, it's really nice for educators to see how powerful it is and be able to incorporate that into a social studies class, an English class, a math class. It's anywhere and everywhere. And so what we're really trying to do, and what I'm a part of, is to showcase the power of the Wolfram language, but not overwhelm teachers. We want to showcase what's possible, but not limit the creativity that is programming in the Wolfram language. I'm a part of almost every educational initiative that spans K-12. About 3 years ago, we had a meeting with Stephen Wolfram, and he said, you know, I noticed that teachers and students in the high schools are really looking to get into programming, and we should do something with that. Thus began our long trek with the programming lab. How do we make a programming environment that's not too intimidating for a third grader and teachers who have never ever programmed before? How do we make it inviting, but also give them activities, things to try on their own, and not just giving them sort of a blank document to, sink or swim with? We've tweaked the environment, we've created all sorts of fun activities for students to start learning programming. And one of the things that we really focused on for these activities is that we wanted to showcase you can actually use programming to support computational thinking or to support any course. We have lots of activities in the English literature area, in the art and design areas as well. And so with the programming lab, you actually get to see, okay, here's the code that you would use to create your own website, to create your own web form. But for students who have never programmed before, for teachers that are just getting into that area, it's extremely powerful. Look how much I can do with just a little bit of code. We have just had a complete blast with the programming lab, especially in the elementary and middle school areas. They just get totally blown away about some of the smaller things that you can do. It's just anything you could want to do, and showcasing the possibilities is really amazing. Another fantastic resource that we've been working on here at Wolfram is the Elementary Introduction to the Wolfram Language. Now what that is a little bit more structured approach to learning the language rather than the immersive approach from the programming lab. The really nice thing that I think we've done is merge the two learning styles together. And you can find an interactive online version of the Elementary Introduction in the programming lab. So what'll happen is, let's say that you're in a classroom and you want to explore certain types of activities or explorations. And so you can tell your students, okay, here's some that you can try. And maybe everybody's getting stuck on the concept of lists. The Elementary Introduction is built into that platform. You don't need to go someplace else. It's right there at your fingertips. And then there are actually exercises that are there for your students, or for even you. An educator, a learner, anyone that's interested in becoming more familiar with the Wolfram language can use it. And so what's really cool about these exercises is that they're actually auto-graded, which is a feature that I've never seen before with coding. I don't need the teacher to be an expert.
All right, I'll just stop it here. No, I'm not trying to convert you into non-programming coders. I'm not trying to sell you a new product. I'm trying to give you a choice to arm yourself with additional skills so that you can solve some of the problems better or understand the world better. Once again, good morning, Salam Sejahtera. My name is Peter Lim. I'll be happy to facilitate this special 1.5 hour training about Wolfram language program essentials. Again, when I talk about programming extensions, Peter is saying not trying to convert us into programmers, and yet you're teaching programming extensions. You are so contradicting. No, today when I say about extensions, in fact, I would like to share with you some of the technology available for you to choose from to make your life better, to understand the world in easier ways and approach some of the problems you find difficult maybe in a few years ago, but you find, hey, in fact, this is something that actually can make use of. This is your choice. I think you see from video just now, and one of the persons that testified that they have been using it in primary school and secondary school. Yeah, so we are not trying to push you in our education program. And what I'm trying to showcase in the video is if some of them find exciting and useful in the secondary school level, even in the primary school level, sekolah rendah, then you say this probably technology has come to a place that is mature enough for us to skip some of the very steep learning curve, yeah, but directly we can reap the fruits. Yeah, the fruit. What are the fruits? The fruits are the problem you try to tackle with. The fruits are some of the R&D you try to achieve with. Yet these are the tools that you can make available for you to achieve or to reap the low-hanging fruits. So today I'll share with you some of the basic steps about what's available from perspective of Wolfram programming language. I'm not showing you all the whole concept or ecosystem of Wolfram language. After all, this system is truly nearly about 4 decades old, one of the world's oldest scripting programming language. Yeah, and you have more than 5 million users in the world. So I'm not going to talk about whole entire ecosystem and structures and modules and everything. Rather, I share with you as a guide, as a tour guide about what you could do for a very basic thing to something that in a high level scripting. So hopefully inspire you a little bit about what choices you would have, yeah, when you come to solving some of the problems or some of the questions that you find interested with. So now, first of all, for those who just came in, I'd like you to pay attention to the chat room. And today, my assisting the facilitator will be Desmond, and he'll be actually putting in some important information in the chat room. So I'd like you to pay attention in chat room. Some of the information, download link, some materials, some instruction could be available there. So if you are watching via handphone and say, today I'm not going to partake in the typing, I just want to watch, yes, it's entirely fine. Yeah, you can feel inspired. You say, hey, this is something useful. After watching, listening to what Peter said, I want to try my own. This material is available for you to download. Yeah, so in a QR code, if you use a mobile phone, scan it, or if you're using any desktop, just click on the link or QR code, scan it or type the link. You will open up. Let me just click on that. Assuming you're scanning a QR code, that is the interface you're going to see. Yeah, the interface you're seeing will be something like that. Yeah, it looks the same as something I open on my local desktop, but this is cloud-based. Yeah, you will open up this thing in your mobile phone, whatever platform, doesn't matter. Yeah, it will open up the same thing as long as you have browser. Now, then later on, you have a choice. You say, Peter, I find this thing interesting. Yeah, I want to try it on my own. Yeah, you can download this thing, make your own copy. You see the little thing here? Let me just switch off my video so you can see. I think my video is blocking the view. Yeah, this one is something. Make your own copy. You can download it. The file format in this Wolfram language is called .mb. The extension name is .mb. You download it. I believe many of you who are attending this morning session, you probably have installed somewhere a full suite Wolfram language programming package. Then you can open it, run it, execute it as I'm showing to you. If you say, no, I'm not, you can still download it and view it, even though you can't execute, but you get the concept. Yeah. So because I seem got some familiar names actually on the Zoom name this morning, I think some of you are big users. Yeah. So today you will see what's something new Peter got to offer. I go fundamental, yet it's something interesting. Yeah, I promise you it's something fundamental, yet it's interesting. Now, if you can, once you go to this page after you QR code it, scan it, open up your browser devices or a laptop or PCs, like I say, you have 2 choices. Either you're going to open it, view it as a document through a browser, or download it as a copy, and also try to play that along when I share with you what are those exciting essential things. Now, third choice is, what is the third choice? Third choice now, I slowly scroll to the bottom of the screen. there's something that calls sandbox. Yeah. So if some of you say, hey, Peter, I find some of the codes and the way you approach is very interesting. And I like to actually try it on one or two things, but not entire things. Yeah. We have something called sandbox available. Same thing. This is QR code. Yeah, available. And the link, Desmond, you put it in the chat room. Of course, if you want to QR code it in your device, yeah, or mobile device, if your screen is big, small, it could be a bit difficult to crunch some of the coding inside. But it doesn't matter. I think many of you are young enough, your fingers are still flexible enough. you can actually still try one or two codes on small device. If you have a PC, fantastic for you. You say, Peter, I don't want to run the codes. What do you have to prepare for us? I just want to click on this thing, try one or two things on my own. Would that be possible? Yeah, I don't want to install the whole things, but I want to find out whether it's actually as useful, interesting, as practical as what you claim. I want to play with sandbox first. Now, how does sandbox looks like? If I click on this thing, yeah, and let me share with you how does it look like when it come out again on the browser. It looks like something like that. Yeah. This is something that on the right-hand side, you will have entire explanation. What we are trying to do today. Yeah, this is some explanation. Getting started, some of the 5 minutes hand-on intro, things to do. These are some basic tutorial already prepared for you on the right-hand side. And going through this entire thing not take more than 15 minutes. Yeah, just very small actually documentation, some video to help me get started on the right-hand side. But the wonderful thing is, this is on the left-hand side here. The left-hand side here, this is sandbox. Sandbox means that you can play with that, yeah? And after that, close and forget. You can play with that, close and forget. For instance, if you want to turn the calculator and put a 3 plus 6, yeah? How does it work? Now, if you see here, for this to perform any computation at all, there are two things that you have to do. Not two things, there's 2 steps simultaneously you have performed. You have to click Shift and Enter key simultaneously. Shift first, hold the Shift key, and hit Enter key. So for those actually who have been using system like that, it is not unfamiliar for you. But for those assuming you have day one today, if you want to run anything on the screen as a calculator, hit Shift and Enter. Then it means it compute. Why is so inconvenient? Some people claim, hey, I thought every time just hit Enter keys it will compute. No, today, like I say, it's a scripting language. Scripting language means that it can use it as a presentation platform, documentation platform, can use a publication platform, also a computation platform at the same time. So if you hit Enter key, the system will think that you try to key in additional things on next line. Yeah, so it becomes carriage key. So you hit Enter, you go next line, next line, next line. So the system in order to differentiate, I'm not going to try and do next line, but try to compute something. Just hit Shift key and hold it, put Enter. Then you know that actually try to do computation. For instance, now I want to do something like interesting. I say, hey, how about 10,000 with the power of, let's say, maybe something ridiculous, big, like 5,000. I hit Shift Enter. Will the system perform? Yes, it still perform right away. Yeah, it give you like so many zeros. So they say, hey, Peter, what if I try to naughty enough behind, put some number, 0.123. Will the system compute? Yes, this whole thing will compute through the cloud, immediately give you a result like that. Yeah, so to get an idea, it's more than a calculator. Yeah, it's like I say, it's a script-based scientific programming, not just scientific programming, it's a deployable solution. So today I share with you is something that advanced computation package that could be practically deployed for a layperson. So today, like I say, what I claim is I'm not trying to convert you into another programming coder. Like I say, if secondary school students and primary school students can use it, what they're using for, quite likely they are not going to be converted by a teacher as another programmer. But the teachers want them to be explored, to be exposed with some of the technology available that can help them to tackle some of the real-life problems in a more practical and easier way. Now, enough of talking now. I'll assume that you will take your time to go to Sandbox and you decide whether you want to use the cloud version we prepare for you to go along with this next 1 hour 15 minutes, or you want to go with Sandbox, up to you. But now, when I'm talking right now, you still have the time to go ahead to do that you think that's the best for learning experience. But let's share with you a little bit now. But a lot of time, that even though people use terms programming and scripting interchangeably, but actually there is quite fundamentally different on some of the important things. It very much actually impact on the technology you choose. If you choose some programming package, right, and you you know that you are just some applied science guy, you are engineers, you probably would not want to embark on the journey that as a programmer. Yes, if you choose something like programming package, yes, it's good for you. Let me just share this screen again. Now go back to this one. Now, if we come to here, you say, hey, I'm not going to become a programmer. I just want to approach it with some technology, solve with some solution. Quite likely, you do not want to go for programming, some traditional programming package, like at least not for me. I'm not going to learn a C language. Yes, some engineers, some and programming enthusiasts, it might not be agree with me, but today we look at the solution. I'm more concerned about getting solutions. So I'm not going to learn a new package that's going to take me like 3 months in order to achieve some result, especially if the problem itself is already difficult for me to tackle. I do want some package that I require my compilation and with some code intensive. Quite likely, I'll switch to something like scripting based, something easy to learn, write and master, something that could be interpreted whenever I type it. Interpret means that whenever I type it, I don't need to compile it. I can run it on the go. Whenever I write something, I want system execute right away by hitting Shift Enter. I want especially in a less code intensive. Now, like I say, Wolfram Mathematica, this technology has been well established nearly 4 decades in the market. In day one, it was designed seriously on the mind for mathematicians, scientists, people are doing serious engineering work, and they have all the core functions that support entire scientific communities nearly for the past 4 decades. But what things have changed rapidly actually in the past? In day one, Wolfram's already a scripting kind of solution, a scripting package. But now it's made easier for us to skip a lot of learning curve for programming. Directly, how to approach and get the result we want. And it has built in nearly 6,000 integrated built-in function, delivering computation and knowledge. What does it mean? Okay, enough for commercial. That's codes enough. Coming down there. It's not actually a commercial. It's the reason why we are sharing this today. Now, in this programming extension, like I say, I'm not going to share entire ecosystem and all the modules, all functions, all features, and all the fancy things, fancy to see but difficult to do. Yeah, a lot of things could look very fancy, but I say, hey, this is something that Peter, it took you 3 months to do. You expect me 3 days to get? No. Today, I'm going to share with you all fundamentals, something that I can understand within 3 minutes. Yeah, does not require 3 hours or 3 days. I will not show fancy things. I show fundamental things. So there are 3 things I share with you as normal people who are dealing a lot with R&D or laboratory work, experimental work. You are concerned with 3 things. First thing is, how do I actually handle data? Secondly, how do I perform computations in an effective way? Thirdly, how I deploy it. And good thing is today I have prepared some gift, and prizes that will surprise you. There will be a mini hackathon. Mini hackathon doesn't mean that I do it today. No. We know next week we have good holiday, right? We have National Day coming up. So we give 1 week of time. Then if you just sit down for 1 or 2 more hours, maybe the best is the throughout from now to next week, you go through some available information, instruction be given to you. You'll not just learn something new, but you walk away with some pleasant surprise that we're going to ship it to you. So stay until the end of class. We're going to announce to you what this mini hackathon is all about. Now, first thing is we need to talk about variables. In programming language, right, there are many ways of defining user-defined program variables. It's very important because you need to define user-defined variables in order to deal with how to handle user-defined objects, user-defined functions, things like that. Now, but the thing is, now this is a lot of time people seldom talk about. In Wolfram language, we use something called this thing, camel style. Yes, camel style means that actually, if you come up with some variable, usually you put in this case because it is nothing wrong when you do some other style, but there's some of the convention people follow. For instance, here in Wolfram language, a lot of time the built-in 6,000 function, you always start with capital letter. So whenever I use my own user-defined variable, I usually start with the lowercase, something called my. You notice that later on in this programming section, I put in a lot of user-defined variables. Something start with my. Could be Malaysia or could be my one, followed by capital letter, something variable name, equal to maybe John something or 1, 2, 3, whatever thing it is. And another thing is called Pascal style. And we suggest not to use it, because Pascal style, it will not give you any wrong, You still can use it. But this one, sometimes you may get confused. Which one is the Wolfram syntax? Which one is yours? Especially want to share with colleagues, they might not know. Especially they are new. You say, hey, there's a lot of variables here, look all similar. And also another thing is called snake style with something underscore. Wolfram will not accept something with underscore. Underscore is special reserve syntax in Wolfram. So you shouldn't use any underscore in a user-defined variable. Now, this is a quick, actually, from the principle. Understand this, now we can move on. First thing is we're going to share with you how we deal with data, because it's important. Wolfram has many ways of dealing with the data. The basic thing is something called list. List is something like an array. In the earlier time, old timer, when we talk about data, we say, oh, it's array. But Wolfram not just deal with data keeping in list. Something like Python, we also call list. You also call dictionary. You have another way called dictionary. Wolfram also have dictionary, which is designed to handle with big data. Using list is something like day-to-day job, you were dealing with something Excel spreadsheet, 10,000, 100,000 data, no issue at all with list. But we say, hey, I'm dealing with big data, talking about millions, 10 of millions data points. Wolfram has something called like dictionary, association, to deal it effectively. But today we don't talk about that. Today we talk about just list. Now, this list here, the wonderful thing is Wolfram is very powerful in numeric and symbolic computations. Numeric computation means that anything that you want to do numeric computations involving numbers, is a general way in layman, a way to describe it. It's very powerful. The same thing is being renowned for symbolic computation, meaning that in your particular list here, you could have like something, a numeric number here, like 3, and you have symbolic package 7/8. You have x, and you also have x power 2, and you have this entire equation could be go inside an array. Also, we have a list inside a list. That means an array inside an array. Also, you could have this thing. And this little thing here is not something dead. It's rotatable. You see, this is entire animated object that it can be kept inside Wolfram as an array. So Wolfram can keep actually the data in a very versatile way. I can keep actually things like the string. Of course, it's a lot of programming language can do that also. But it can also keep color. And it can keep entire equation as it is. The system understands this equation. It's not just another string or paragraph. So we see that there's no double code. The system understands this is equation. Wolfram understand right away. You can store a lot of equation inside the Wolfram database. And you can call it up to use it not as a string, but as an expression. Not many scripting language can do that. Now, if I have this information like that, now I can at anytime I say, hey, in this case here, for instance, I have this particular list. I have 1, 2, and third one called Noraini. I have fourth one is expression. I have numeric number. I say, okay, if I run this thing and shift enter. Similarly, if in the sandbox, you can try in the sandbox. Let me switch to the sandbox. Right? In case some of you are using sandbox, that's what's happening. Now, I'll try to invite Desmond a long time that some of the code can copy while you copy in the chat room. So you can actually copy and paste, put it back to sandbox, so you can try it out, some simple text. But in this case, for instance, I put in a sandbox here. Now, in this sandbox here, I put in here something like that. Now, if I put this thing, I hit Shift Enter, run it, it gives me like this. What if today I'm interested in getting the fourth one? The fourth one is actually, what is that? As expressions. So if I hit fourth, the main system will know, give it to me the element in the fourth positions. Like give it to me, oh, this is the equations. So if I put this thing, if an equation, in fact, this whole thing is runnable. But today I don't want to make it complicated. I do not want to make it to be something like so-called runnable. But at the same time, what if today I say, hey, I want to have this negative index count form behind. So in this case, I say, hey, I'm interested in getting this number 6. Then I say, I just put it -2. So I'll get actually the the things, the elements from position in the number 2. This is not something rocket science. Yeah, like I say, this is like in a scripting language, you can find it. This is something that very common, especially if some of you have been using R and Python. You've been seeing this. Oh, Python and R is another scripting language. So if I say I want 2 to 4 and run it 2 to 4, it simply give me actually the elements inside this array from 2 to 4. And similarly, if you say, hey, I want to perform some operation on this list, how could we do that? So in this case here, I say, in this case, in front here, this sandbox, I just put like that, go all the way, I just take this thing away. I say, in this case, I call my list. You see, I start typing something. This is my variable. I define my list. This is my list. The next thing I say, can you tell me how long this my list is? I type length, my list, and you're telling me inside here, this array contains 7 of them. If I want to do some count, I say, hey, can you count as a distinct value inside? What does mean distinct value? See, as I type in the sandbox, the system actually come up with some sort of the reason. It try to actually help me to fill up the blank. So today, when it comes to scripting language, unlike in the past, when the moment you type it, not just interpret for you, but it guide you along the way. They try to predict what you're trying to do next. So when I type just now, it has some wording coming up, they try to autofill for me, and immediately it tells me inside this particular array, I have 2 of 2. Yeah, inside there are 2 counts of 2, 1 count of Rani, 1 count of sine x, and 1 count of 6, something like that. Say, Peter, what's the use of that? Yeah, if you can handle some of the basic things using this list, there are many things you can further expand from here to achieve something that making your life easier, to achieve something that much more complicated. For instance, if you want to import something about this raw data, now, let's say today I try to deal with these 2 serving counters. Say, hey, these 2 serving counters, I have data. This data, how do we keep it? Now, a lot of times and sometimes in the past that we have some headache or problem trying to download data. You want to import it, you have put data in this format and that format. But Wolfram does not work that way. So Wolfram actually deal with importing near 80 or 90, I can't recall what's the exact number right now. You can deal with like 50 or up to 80 different types of file formats. Yeah. CSV is just one of very simple files. For instance, in this case, I say, hey, I want to download this CSV file called Pegawai. And I'm interested in the first 2 rows I do not want, because the first 2 rows are headers. I don't want. I just want to contain this CSV file. So in this CSV file, I'm not opening right now because it contains 2 columns of data, which is contain the serving time. So of course, if you're using Sandbox, it's not able to run this thing. But I'll invite Desmond, put in the chat room there. For the second line command here, this one is something that you can download directly from Google Drive. Yes, I put, again, today is, the good thing is, a lot of time that from Excel spreadsheet, what you have prepared, you can actually easily convert it in Google Sheet, yeah, almost intuitively, no much knowledge needed. Just convert and save it in Google Sheet. When convert in Google Sheet will give you what? Link. So what you have to do is, now I'm switching to Sandbox right now. I say, hey, I just want to download this Google Sheet I prepare. I make this Google Sheet a public one. Now let me try one more time. Yes. Sometimes this thing might not necessarily work. I think in the security reason on the Sandbox. Let me try it one more time. Yeah. If it does not work, I just keep it like that. But I'll show you on my local desktop. So if you say that, hey, in this Sandbox does not work, sometimes on certain code might not necessarily work that well in the Sandbox, because after all, it's just a Sandbox. Now, let me try. If I try to download this thing from my own local Google Drive, the same thing is how I download from my local Excel spreadsheet. So my local Google Drive here, notice here, hey, I have this information coming in. Yeah. If I try to tidy up this information a little bit, like say in the form that I can understand. Now you could see that actually from Google Drive, the Google Sheet, these are the 2 columns of data coming in. So with these 2 column data, I can do a lot of analysis statistically. So I will share with you why I claim primary school and secondary school students can find it so applicable and practical. So now in this case, I say, hey, now the data I visualize right now, but I say in these first 2 rows, I do not want, because I'm going to perform some statistical computation. These first 2 rows, I did not want it. These 2 rows is simply a header. So what I will do is something like what we learn. We say anything on the third rows onward, I want it. Any meanings that anything on the third row means this. In this case, anything on the third rows onward, I want it. Anything on the first two rows, I do not want it. So now it's a simple way how we would deal with this data after we import it as an array. So the data now imported is something like that. So immediately now we can start perform some of the computation. How we do that? So if we extract this data, again, this thing is extracting data from first column and two column, because we want officer number one from first column, officer number two from second column, we extract it accordingly. Immediately we can actually visualize it. I say, hey, the first thing is I'm interested in knowing the average value. Now, I say, this is not rocket science. This is something that you can use normal scientific calculator to do it. But now to share with you is by importing data until you get the average value, the whole process, the whole process is not longer than how you do it in Excel spreadsheet. Of course, in Excel spreadsheet, you can quickly add up the average value. Yes, we are doing that every day, but we do not want this average value. And in Excel spreadsheet, you want to do histogram. Yes, this is something that you can do histogram easily with these two officers. You say, hey, I can do Excel spreadsheet. Why do I need to do here? Now, when it comes to visualization, you can not just programmatically do it because you want to deploy it. Excel spreadsheet can deploy it. You have it, you have crop it, you have a screenshot, you can cut it, you can put it into publication. You can all do sharing all this information in a static form. But today, if you can programmatically actually visualize spreadsheet style histogram, meaning that you can deploy in a very dynamic way. Whenever your data change, the output will change automatically in a place in the platform that I deploy. What does it mean? If you deploy something, meaning that your end data change, this thing will change right away. It's not something static anymore. And very importantly, if you say, hey, I want to show a smooth histogram, this is not something you can do in Excel spreadsheet. Today, if I want a system to perform something like mathematically computed kind of output, I say, no, I don't want to just look at histogram itself. Yes, you can do a lot of tweaking here, Excel spreadsheet, to make things that actually make informative to you and making sense for, yes, you could do that. But you see, in today's scripting language, it's only take one, two lines. You can achieve wonder to help you make decision. Now, enough of this talking. Next thing is, in any programming language, that iteration is very important. What makes computation powerful is you can iterate a lot and automate a lot of process by iteration. So now, these are two functions that are very popular in Wolfram. Again, if you use R, you use Python, same thing, you will see something similar, iteration. So I share with you from Wolfram approach how we do iteration. First iteration is something called table. Table doesn't mean that you try to create a new Jado or new table. No, it means that you try to tablize the data, some of the computation. For instance, the thing I'm interested in tablize it is called X2. Then the system say, hey, from X2, how you want to table it? Tablize. I say for X square, I want to tablize of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 10. So if I copy this thing, I put it in sandbox again, put it sandbox. Now let me switch to sandbox. Now, in this case, if you can actually, I'll ask Desmond put that code inside the chat room so that you can copy from chat room also, put in this sandbox. So in this sandbox, right, you run this thing, it gives you something like that. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49. If you today, you say, hey, I want to make like 1,000. So immediately that you iterate the computation from 1 to 1,000 instead of running number to give it a computation of square. So you become 1,000 square. So you see, of course, sandbox computations very much depend on the internet, the bandwidth, also computation. Sometimes it's like say sandbox is an experimental place. So sometimes might not necessarily have the bandwidth to support, but it gives you an idea. So put 100, it gives you a result like that. So it gives you some sort of quick iteration. But next thing here is say, hey, I do not want to just run this thing. If I want to give you some things that a number that will give me actually index number automatically, in Wolfram have something called range. Range means that if you today, you see when I'm typing it try to fill it up for me, I say give me a range of 30. So it's automatically give me like 1 to 30. Give me running number like that. With running number like that, you can do a lot of things. Yeah? So you can give the system to auto run this thing like 30 times based on some of the parameter you put inside. They say, hey, I want to run 30 times, but in this case, I want to make it to be a power of 3. Can I do that? So it immediately give you a power of 3 based on range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this, like I say, this is a common programming 101 for primary school. Programming 101 is no big deal, but I'm pointing you to some direction to let you know by mastering some of the basic thing like that, you can do a lot of wonder. Now, I'm switching back to my local desktop again. Now, some example using iterators, like in this case, now you will find this thing very interesting and intriguing because like today, able to do something at iteration is nothing fantastic. Yeah, a lot of things can do that. You can download tons of different kind of software out there can help you do a lot of iteration. But what if today I want to access a molecular repository? Again, this one you can try to do a sandbox. If you try, I'm not sure it works as sandbox or not, but I can try to. So so you can paste this thing, see whether it will work on sandbox or not. You put in the chat room. It's molecule caffeine. You put in chat room. Let them also put in sandbox. Okay. Never mind. If you can try it out. Now, in this case here, in this molecule caffeine, in this case, we type it here, the system will access to a repository to give us information about what this caffeine molecule is. So now, you notice that we are not trying to give it like sine, cosine, all this algebra, calculus kind of scientific computation, but it actually comprises with a lot, like say, nearly 5,000-6,000 functions. A lot of things that whatever thing you ask for, quite likely is available that with proper documentation. How does it work? But important thing is now, in this molecule caffeine, now I say I want to visualize it in 3D form. So immediately you say, if you try to look up something like 3D, I say, in molecule, yes, it's good. If I actually further expand it, tell me, oh, it's 24 atoms in this caffeine and 25 bonds, and you have actually this mouse index looks like this. But what if I want to visualize it? Well, there's something called 3D. You start a search for something 3D. Quite likely you're going to come across something called molecule plot 3D. Now I say, okay, if there's something called molecule plot 3D, might as well try it out. Now, surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, but expected, there's something available like that coming out. So it becomes something that you do not actually have to construct something like real life to understand how this molecule structure looks like, how many bonds it have, how many atoms it have. But immediately it's available for you to deploy it, understand it on your own, and something you can share with people. And again, you say, hey, I want to know now, even though it gives me some properties about this molecule, but I want to know what is atom list. So in this case here, now if let me try to run this one more time. I want the system actually list down how many atoms are actually available inside. Okay, let me just try and run one more time. When I try to run this thing, in fact, if you try to run it for the first time, sometimes Wolfram will try to download some of the libraries automatically. And you will notice that your system will have some clock running and telling you that some of the data is trying to run. Doesn't matter. For some reason, the system actually does not actually listen to me. Well, doesn't matter. I'll skip this part, but this thing will work. Yeah, I think something wrong with the server connectivity. It doesn't actually connect on getting the things I want. So, but I just explain the concept. How does it work? So, if the system in this case suppose give me all the atoms, the carbon, nitrogens, and some of those things, oxygens, hydrogens inside, and I can actually try to tally out in order to find out how many different atoms are there in different categories. Categories means that category accounts, yeah? But now also I can use some common command. Now, since I'm not able to run this thing, but if you have downloaded, maybe I try it in the sandbox, see whether it works or not. Let me just switch to sandbox. Maybe it works in sandbox. Yeah, so you have a better idea how I explain it. Let me just switch to sandbox quickly right now to see how it works. Now, if I switch to sandbox now, and I wanted to switch to show me the molecule of caffeine, and also I want the system to show to me how's the molecule plot in 3D. Now, in this case, molecule plot in 3D. Now, I think what I have to do is, I'll switch this thing called MIMO. Yes, this thing, take this thing away. This is my mole, my molecule, and at the same time, I want it to visualize 3D. I believe it will, because unless the system thinks that I'm trying to do something like a huge computation power will slow down public server, it will cut off my connectivity. Otherwise, it will just work well. So now again, I say, hey, in this case, I want the system to give it to me. How many atoms actually available? Now it's available. Now, that's not obviously I assigned something wrongly. After that, I say, can I actually ask the system tell me for me what will be the atom count? Because in this case, sometimes in some very complex structures or molecular properties, it might give me a lot of different atoms. I might actually lose count. So in this case, I can quickly count here among all the atoms in this caffeine, I have actually the 10 atoms for hydrogens. Now for this, I say, now if I want to find out what will be the total atoms all available, so I can use a simple actually command that we learned. I say, hey, can you tell me that altogether how many of them there? So the system tell me that the total length of the array is 24. So now I can use this simple calculation to help me to find out what those things are available and in the way I want it. But now the next thing is, if I say, hey, I want to know what's the atomic weight. So in this case, the iteration play a very important part. Now you see here, this is table. I say in the table here, I want a table to run from X to length. My length is 24. Yeah, length 24 means what? I have 24 counts of information inside my atom list. Yeah, I want to run it from 1 to 24. And 1 to 24 do what? I say, based on this thing, please give me element data by the information I'm interested in atomic weight. So the system quickly run it. Now, let me try to put this thing length, put a user-defined variable called my length, equal to length is 24. So the system know now length is 24. I run it again, it's going to give me the atomic weight, yeah, of all those information. Again, I say, with all those information available, and can I actually give me a sum? Let me say sum, does it work? Let me see, my math, yes. No, it's not sum. See, some of those things I might not necessarily actually remember all the time, but you just use your intuitive way to give you actually achieve the result you want. So total atomic weight here is 194.19 mil. Yeah, quickly can get a result. Now in this case here, the most interesting thing is, like I say, like any programming language, you can do a lot of iteration, but it's not something that you find it presently surprising. Now, how come it's there? No, definitely has to be there. If it's not there, it's something that's strange. But important thing is, Wolfram has huge amount of terabyte of data repository built in, allowed you actually make a programming come to life in a practical way. So you see here from all those actually different categories, I don't need to mention one by one, is even that if people say, hey, how come actually, I thought you say it's scientific package there. I never knew that art and science one is scientific domain. Yes, art and design, yes, sometimes that you can even analyze it scientifically and do some advanced computation based on art and design, also culture, medias, and people and histories, and even music. Yes, those things actually, a lot of things can be digitally actually computed. And that's why a lot of those domains with huge terabyte data built in for us to consume free of charge, yeah, available inside. Again, you say, hey, instead of looking at all those domains and categories, I just want to know, what does Wolfram know in addition to this, without actually categorizing it? You see, there's something like, even Wolfram know about something about aircraft, airline, airports. So now say, hey, how come does it know about airports? I further scroll it down, yeah, it knows actually like tons of kind of information. Like if you say, hey, airport, does it just know airport about some airport in the country? No, it knows every airport as long as a legal airport. Wolfram will know, yeah, as long as legal airport, it recognize it because each airport have a code, yeah, recognized by some the authority in the world control the airline. If you run entity value airport, and the system trying to download the data, yeah, let's say, hey, this is airport, you know it's airport. I say, oh, okay, give me something called properties. Tell me what you know. The system knows about this airport in certain place, in certain city and country. I say, now, can you give me the airport name? Yeah, now I know, oh, inside here, I can type in something called name. So I run it. The system will start downloading all the known airport in the world. It sees like 44,000. It's like crazy. I start trying to download. Yeah, I don't want this thing to jam up my whole database or my presentation right now. So I just killed it. But right now, you can see the system trying to download nearly about 44,000 record airport name in the world. So say, what do you need to know airport names? For some reason, some people were actually interested in researching airlines and things like maybe you want to know. So now, and to end this today presentation, I will actually let you walk away, something I take away. One of the important iterators to run an iterator efficiently is something called map. Yeah, because we do not just run iterators like running through based on range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a normal running number. But a lot of time we want it to actually put certain expression to run repeatedly. What does it mean? And it needs something called map, right? That means if you have expression f, you want to map it something called A, B, C, D. So this is very useful whenever you want to perform something called design experiment. That's common approach, right? You say, I have come up with equation with f, but I have all kind of data like A, B, C, D. So I want to take this expression to be A, B, C, D put inside and run it for me. So immediately I can run through a series of different input parameters to see how my expression will work. So in this case here, you can again try in a sandbox. Now, another way, there's a shorthand like /add. You say, what's the meaning shorthand? Yeah, shorthand means that sometimes I do not like to use this thing called map, and you find a lot of people are using this thing. Yeah. F/add ABCD, now it becomes like the same thing. So how useful it is? If you today have a size command, right? A normal expression, yeah. You say, hey, I have this something called sine. I want to put a radian of 0.1 pi, 0.2 pi, 0.3 pi, 0.4 pi, and go on forever. You can actually /add. You say this is my 4 parameter, and put inside and run it on sine expression. So this one become very important. It means that you could have a monster expression equation or formula on the left hand side, and right hand side can series of input data, immediately get result in an iterated way. So let me share with you how could we actually using this thing quickly achieve fantastic result. For instance, in this case, right, I have a planet repository. I want to visualize it. Yeah, we have entity value called planet. Yeah, all the planet. We have 9 planets. Right now, I say show me the image. So the system is now to download this information automatically for us and download and visualize these 8 planets for us. After these 8 planets, I say, give me names, yeah, entity value names. So for Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune come up. So I say, hey, can you handle this thing? Tell me one thing. I say, in this planet, right, I want a few things. Give me the number of moon count. Give me the mass. Give me a radius. Give me a gravity. So in this case, I mean, run it. It does not give you a numeric number. The system actually gives you actually with unit of measurement. This a lot actually scripting language can give to you. Wolfram store a lot of unit of measurements. That for instance, 0 moon, Earth have 1 moon. Yeah. So and when come to Mars have 2 moons. Yeah. And also this is the total the mass, yeah, of these first 2 planets, and Earth, this total mass of Earth, this total mass of Mars, and also we look at the radius, we look at gravitation force, all with proper unit measurements. You say, why does this matter? And why in this programming extension I'm talking about this? Because in Wolfram, if you want to make the programming language as intuitive, also as practical for people, certain country people use feet, inches. Certain country people use meter, yeah, centimeter. So the system does not really care if you use centimeter or meter, as long as you put in unit measurement. For instance, if I say I have an area, I want to calculate length times the width. If I put in width as inches, length as kilometer, the system auto convert it for you into the default unit measurements in meter. The system will do all those automatic intelligent conversion. Understand your unit measurement wherever you key in something. The system know you're dealing with unit of measurement because in the database itself has unit of measurements. It tells you that how you represent the value. So now in this case, now not talking about unit or measurements. Now important thing is I want to show iterations. Now iteration here is something called my planet. This is my planet, right? My planet show me all the information. I have 4 arrays. First array is number of moons. Second array is a mass. Third array is the radius. Fourth array is gravitational force. I say, can you show it to me among this is expression called max. I say, among all those things, can you show me which one is a maximum? So it showed me, one of 8 planets, 82 moons. Yeah, and the biggest one, the planet, biggest mass is about 10 of 27 power to 27 kg. And this is the maximum mass among these 8 planets available. And also radius and gravitational force. We have gravitational force 24.79 meter per second square, which is nearly like of how many times? Of gravitational force 9 point something, right? So it's like 3 times, 2.5 times the Earth gravitational force. Now, if you look at here, right, we have to share a little bit now about functioning programming versus procedure programming. Again, Wolfram actually written actually a solution for programming. Some of those that traditional old timer, we like procedure programming. Procedure programming means that you write things step by step. Yeah. But again, procedure programming this day allows you to write things in logical flow. For instance, here, if you write something of fx is x equal to s plus y, you're writing something like that, define a function, yes, and you also define a series of code that run through a logical flow. Yes, you're writing a procedure programming. But again, today, modern time programming, yeah, in order to make the code concise, in order to make you achieve the result in an accelerated way, people refrain for doing so much procedure programming. No, I'm not saying that, yes, procedure programming is not important. In a lot of times, a lot of situations, you still have to do procedural programming step by step. Yeah. But what I'm saying is today, if you want to do R&D, you want to get quick result, Wolfram actually switch to something called functioning programming. It actually, a lot of things have been converted into high performing functions in a very high level. 1 or 2 line of codes, you can achieve the result that they want. For instance, here, if you want to print something like A, B, and C, you print A, B, C. Yeah. So this is something like system will compress a lot of very complicated coding. For instance, here, in this case, this is not a built-in function in the Wolfram language. It says if 7 bigger than 7 bigger than 5, and 2 lesser than 4, yes, it's true or false. If you, yes. In the normal procedure programming, you write if something, then something, else something. But in Wolfram, usually 1 line of code, you will give you the result because function programming. Yes, you do not have to be too engrossed about what I've explained here, but what I'm trying to say here is Wolfram try to package in a lot of high-level functions to achieve result in the most effective way. So again, if you find you are doing a lot of looping, manually, maybe you should actually, there's a high chances that you can actually further make your code more concise and faster instead of writing a lot of looping on your own, even though I share about iteration and looping, but that means that you have used a lot of traditional procedure programming like do loop, while loop, if I know what I'm talking about. Never mind. Now, let me introduce a bit something called pure function and math. This is something in the last part I'm going to explain to you, then going to come a hackathon very soon. Hey, Peter, seriously, we talk about few elementary things that I can do hackathon. Trust me, yeah. I will share with you something interesting that I guarantee how come I say you can actually approach with hackathon, very quickly. Now, in this case here, the Wolfram language allows you to use something called pure functions. This pure function actually something like if you Google it, you might not actually find someone define pure function in very detailed ways, but that's what we call a pure function. Means that instead of using X or Y or Z, we use something called hash sign. Hash sign means that if you put this hash sign, it simply means it's something that refer to behind here. So if I put hash sign with this something add, the system understand you try to get something from behind. Meaning here, if I put a hex, actually this little shorthand hash, and the system also notice that something called add like that, and you will actually the system pick up what's behind 50 to run it. Make 50 plus 1. You say, Peter, what's useful about this? This is very convenient. Convenient in the sense is, I don't need to define a lot of user-defined functions. I mean, got fxr, gxr, things like that. I don't have to do that. As long as I put in something, a hash sign in front, and this hash sign is not just one hash. I can put a hash sign like hash 1. Yeah, the system can accept. Meaning, if I put hash 1, I can put hash 2, hash 3, hash 4, 5. I can create as many number as hash of pure function I want, and by referring the data behind here. But if I run this something, I even put a hash 1, the system doesn't care hash 1, hash 2. You refer to the information behind. Oh, this hash 1 means I refer to a data behind 50, 60, 70, 80, then plus 1. So again, using this approach, right, we can do iteration in a very convenient and effective way. Well, how does it work? Let's see, we look at a planet represent. This is a repository again. So I look at planet, particularly interested in mass. I say, show me the mass of Mars. It show me 6.4117 with the 10 of power 23 kg. This is mass of Mars. What if today I say, hey, how about the rest of 8 planets? Yeah, of course, we can actually ask the system to show us all the mass of 8 planets, which we did before that. But imagine you're doing something like not just planets. You're doing things maybe 8,000 or something of some certain object. You want the system to quickly actually do this thing by using pure function to call out a certain data from a database. So how does it work? So I want to call up this planet mass from the current repository, current database that contains all these 8 planets. So I say, hey, my data, my parameters is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And now I'm using this pure function. I say this pure function, I know it's no longer just Mars. It could be anything coming from the 8 parameter behind, and I'm interested in getting the mass. And again, I'm using this one as sign, the system know I try to get it from behind. So now if I run this thing, the system quickly give me all the information that extracted from the server based on these 8 parameters, which are names of planet. So now, in this case, similarly, if I want to do something like sine, this is a very simple expression. Sine what? What is a radian I'm interested in? If I want this thing, something called, this information called range, I put in range 100, you give me like this, running number from 1 to 100. So to make things simple, to make the illustration simple, I say, hey, I want this thing hatched actually based on the running number 1 to 100. So it simply give me sine with the radian of 1 or to the radian of 100. So I can quickly actually immediately access certain information based on from my server, from my array, from my list of data to do an iteration on my expression quickly, combining with the use of pure function plus the math iterator. So just now we share about math iterator, which is /n. Say, Peter, what are you talking about today? You say simple. How come talk about so many things? You don't need to memorize. I'm just trying to share with you. Combining with use of pure function, combining with use of table, or range, some iterator, or map, yeah, you can already achieve many computation very efficiently already. Yeah, of course, you say, hey, can I do this with some my project and how I approach? You need to look up documentation. Yeah, look up something called map, look up something called table, look up something range. There are a lot of tutorials share with you that how actually you can make your computations and your whole code very efficient, achieve result quickly. So now, I'll give you one practical example. See, this practical example, right, if you try to code it, yeah, you cannot imagine, hey, could it possible to do it in my own, especially you're not programmer, you find it's major headache. But now what if today I say I come up with one solution, I want to detect the emotion of people, yeah, based on video, based on image, make things simple, yeah, because in sandbox you can't do much, yeah. So in sandbox you can try later, you can try to paste picture later, but I'm not going to do it sandbox, I do it here, you just watch. If I have picture here, it's something called my pic. My pic is equal to one picture, I simply take it from internet, yeah. And again, this picture here, what it try to do here is one of simple functions called 5 faces. Say, Peter, how come Wolfram building something called 5 faces? 5 faces is one of the hundreds of the computer vision related function. Computer vision means what? Related to image processing, image related to how you recognize, process a media. All those are computer vision. So Wolfram will build in something, not just find object, but you'll find faces. Yeah, by looking at human the pictures taking a human, you're able to find out automatically how many faces actually inside the picture. So you find out, oh, there are 4 pictures. They even give us actually coordinate, yeah, the rectangular shape, starting from which coordinate and with which coordinate. So if I say, hey, okay, now I in order for me to visualize what this coordinates all about, I say, in this case, can you take this my pictures, original pictures? I put it here, my face recognition, which is coordinate given by Wolfram, according to the pictures I put in. It gives us based on the coordinate and dot matrix, right? So I say, trim it out for me so I can see visually whether the system actually capture the faces correctly or not. Immediately, it seems to capture correctly 4 faces. Yeah, I did not simply choose images from the internet. You can choose any images. As long as the person does not show the back of the head, the system can recognize quite well, yeah, faces. So faces, you can do what? Then it's up to your imagination. This day, we need a lot of these pictures to do processing, either for security purpose, for marketing purpose, for whatever surveillance purpose. You need a lot of system able to do like this. Yeah, but you see, only one line of the code, you're able to capture pictures already. Yeah. Now, there are many other built-in functions. Now, some of the AI built-in function is more interesting. Say, hey, some of the built-in AI function, I just use it, I call it out. Wolfram had a lot of AI built-in functions in the repository. Repository keep growing. Yeah, one of the simple ones is called facial expression. Yeah, they have a lot of something called neural network repository, all used for AI. People develop, put it up. Wolfram develop, put it up, so you can recycle it. So I recycle something called facial expression. I say, hey, tell me what the expressions are. And the system go to their AI system. Based on the images I extracted, the system trying to understand what the emotion of the people are trying to recognize. Of course, say, how come this one takes such long time? Yes, because this one goes through a cloud computation, take long time. If you want to do production, there are some other way that can quickly actually give you a result instead of going through internet computation, cloud computation. All this computation could be done on the local cloud, done on local server, could be very fast. Say in this case here, it gives us that this person looks like a big set, looks like that because it's AI. Similarly, I say, can you tell me how old these people are? Again, also based on what you have studied in the current database, it's trying to tell us that how old they are. It might not be entirely correct, but for a tone, it's quite correct. It's like it looks still a few years younger. Yeah. And this definitely is a much too younger. And definitely, I think he keep a very good, maintain his body quite well. So now, another way here, the facial gender here, same thing, try to differentiate the gender. So male, looks like quite okay. But what if I want to convert this thing into something like application? Now, this is our hackathon all about. Pay attention. Coming soon to a hackathon already. Like I say, Wolfram has nearly 6,000 functions with terabyte of data. It's unlikely you sit there for days to understand all the capability. No need to do that. Wolfram only concerned how you can actually achieve result in the accelerated way. So the reason you have so many functions is likely whenever you need something, you start in how far you can find the things you wanted in the easier way with a lot of tutorial example. So similarly, let's say I put everything that we learned together. Yeah. So I create a user-defined function. Yeah, user-defined function. Yeah, this is my user-defined function called my F1. Yeah. And this picture PIC underscore. Whenever I define a function, I put an underscore here. Like say underscore is a reserved syntax in Wolfram. And I say this is the parameter I'm going to put in. And this user-defined function will prompt us to enter pictures, 5 face, and trim it out. So if I run this user-defined function, yes, system understand, oh, this is the user-defined function defined. In order to use it, yes, I can immediately put this thing like that. My F1, yeah? So if anytime, let's say I go to Google right now, let me just go to Google, I take any image, or I say, maybe I type something called Mathematica. Let me make something more complicated, yeah? If Mathematica usually have a lot of cloud, right? Let me just go to one of the images to see if I can find Okay, Mathematica parade. Yeah, let me see parade. See any pictures without mask? Yeah, with mask maybe a bit difficult because this AI it came out like 5 years ago. Yeah, it might not be. I still understand about people wearing masks. Let me see whether I can find out parade good pictures. Yes, there's one pictures here we can use. Okay, put here one. Okay, if I make it slightly bigger so everyone can see what's inside. It's a lot of children. So now I put it here. Now, you see, extract here, as like I said, as long as your face not tilted too far away, quite likely you're going to extract out the one actually stand in the screen. So if I want to convert this thing into a dialog box, is it possible? Meaning this dialog box, right? In this case, this is my user-defined function, my F1, yeah, and I want to create something like page, right? So so people can use it right away. If I put like this, right, the system convert into a one of the function. Let me just run one more. Yes, like this. If I just run this thing, yes, you see, this is one line of code. I can turn this thing into an application already, which I can easily distribute to someone that could be interested in my solutions. If I look up something called pictures, yes, I click OK. So the system will able to give me breakdown like this. Yeah. It may not become small, tiny application. But what if today say, hey, Peter, I like you say, important thing is today how we actually deploy it, make it practically deployable. Yeah, you want to deploy the machine, deploy the cloud, deploy some interactive. Like I say, I'm not going to make it to the entire ecosystem to show to you how it works. Yeah, but to let you know, integration these days is very important for you to deliver a deployable solution, not just solve your own problem. You want to solve problem that everyone feel concerned about. That's why you need to deploy it in practical way. So if I create a simple user-defined function. In this case, I say this user-defined function not just recognize faces like this, like the trim out faces, but I want that these actually functions able to tell me that emotion, tell me that how old they are, what's the gender, and give the information accordingly. So if I put this thing and say, okay, this is a user-defined function at one, I can create a local dialog box. If whenever I throw in pictures, it will give me all the expression and also estimated age and also gender. But important part is if I want to make this solution available to everyone, I can easily say, now, this whole thing called my page, right? This is something a local dialog box. I say, no, I don't want to use a local. Only one line of code. You say, instead of using a local, I make a cloud deploy. I want to make this whole page, my page, right? This whole my page. Let me annotate this part so easier to see. Now, you look at here, this is something called my page here. Only thing is different here, what I'm doing right now is this part, cloud deploy. I said, when cloud deploy, I want to make permission to be public. I want to give it a name called something called my deploy. So I just run this thing. If you run it, you have different actually. If you have actually license installed in your local machine, you will have actually something called up with the name. Because my account is called TB Lane. You come on my deploy. So if you say I don't want to do this thing, I also using Sandbox right now. Then what you do is you can actually I'll ask Desmond copy and paste this thing in chat room. You can try it using my own link or use a mobile phone to scan QR code. Your mobile phone, you can use this application right away. So how does it look like? So if I click on this thing, right, either in a local browser or your mobile phone will will come out something like this in your mobile phone. And you can actually, instead of drag and drop the pictures into here, you can immediately actually use a mobile phone camera to take photo right away. You see, this is like camera. You take photo right away. The system will count actually what's the expression of the person. Now, let's say I try to drag and drop something, yeah, from let me try to see, yeah, if I have some pictures available on my desktop. Yes, let me see and then I just use back the previous one. You see, I drag over these pictures here. Yeah, these pictures that I take and drop it here, like this one, right? Now, you can try out this link, go any internet you like, or take snapshot of your own, yeah? See how old the system think you are. all the gender decision thing you are. So MCO, a lot of people cannot go for haircut. A lot of men look like female. Yeah, this day. The other day I just have a Zoom meeting with a friend. He didn't go for haircut for 6 months already. So I said, wow, your hair length so long can go shampoo commercial already. So this case here, immediately actually this thing can turn into a ready-made solution. Just one line of code. Yeah. So you see, this whole thing is so simple, practical, and could be actually applied and as a solution for many people right away. So let's come back to about what we have now. What's a hackathon all about? In this hackathon here, we'll give you 1 week. Again, I will not ask you to do things like a lot of hackathons is simply using the contester. What does it mean using contester? Now, later I share with you. But now in this case here, if you this Wolfram language data, if you're in the sandbox, same thing, you're exposed to you. If you run this thing Wolfram language data, it share with you all the current available functions, commands available in Wolframs. Yeah, of course, like I say, this is something like show off and no need to see. It's like nearly like 6,000 that occupy your screen. You don't need to see, but this is all available function inside. And we say, oh, Peter, I find this thing is interesting. How do we go ahead? Yeah. These are the 2 links you can try and go ahead of fully free interactive training videos. Yeah. And for instance, this elementary introduction Wolfram language, yeah, a step-by-step guide. You sit down every day, use a half an hour. Yeah, 1 week you can count him already. 1 week you can finish watching all those videos, and you also have some practice. Immediately you can become intermediate user of Wolfram language. Trust me, I'm not trying to convert you into programmers, coders. I just expose you with some available tools that can make your job easier. And that's it. If you want to be a programmer, coder, that's definitely by all means. Wolfram are meant for serious programmers and coder also. But again, many of you, like me, I'm not programmers. Yeah, I'm a system integrator. I'm also a productions consultant. I'm concerned with logistics, supply chain, and operation optimization. I don't really do that much of programming, but I need tools like that to help me achieve result. Yeah, so these are 2 links you can go. And also another thing is, Desmond put in a discount code today to give an explanation about what this is all about. We started this batch already 3 months ago, and the batch is coming to an end by 1 more week finish. And we cover 5 topics, from lecturing, presentation, deploying, AI with machine learning, data analytics, graph network, vectors, matrices, and programming. Programming means that it's not like today programming. We share with you how to integrate with Python, integrate R, how to call from Python, call Wolfram programming language inside Python. So these 2 technology can complement one another. How can connect to external database like Oracle, SQL, things like that. So all those things, these 5 modules meant for one thing. Today, a lot of laboratory experiments, yes, it cannot run away with data. When you have data, you need to do analytics. When you need to do analytics, you need to automate it. And quite likely, you might want to do using some AI to help you to explore some new solution. So these 5 modules, yeah, with a special price, only 3,000, not 3,000. The value is nearly 3,000, but only 350 ringgit. Yeah, you have heard it correctly. 350 ringgit. Total days, I can't recall. I think total days, at least like 20 over days. Yeah, to finish on 19 sessions, 19 days. Each time is about 1 hour to 2 hours. Yeah, maximum is only 2 hours. Yeah, and cover 19 sessions, 41 hours in 3 months. Today, if you sign up, Desmond give a deadline, special 10% discount on top of 350. Yes, it's almost a throwaway. But because we want people to actually benefit from this more systematic, actually upskill. Because a lot of people have been asking us, Peter, can you do this and can you do that? Can you train this and train that? If over time we cannot satisfy everyone, might as well we have this 3 months program. You come in, you can come anytime you like it. If you say certain modules I'm interested, you can come in. Some modules say do not to my concern, you can skip it. No pressure. Each module will give you individual certificate. Yeah. So, but you sign up these 5 modules, you can enjoy everything on them. Only 350 ringgit. Today we special discount 10%. But now enough commercial. Today I'm going to give you a prices giveaway. The giveaway prices again, you say, Peter, this is no one topi lah. Why you make so big fast? I'm not giving one topi only. I'm giving this topi is one token. We're going to put in a few more surprise gift for top 3 winners. Yeah. Again, top 3 winners. Again, a lot of hackathon, right, is because you participate, you help them solve the problems, they give you money. Yeah. But today is my purpose is not ask you to come up with a solution, something that we do not have. Yeah. We should ask you to actually have fun with that. But again, to encourage participations, we give our prizes to 3 persons. These 3 persons, you not necessarily say, hey, I have to come up with a complete solution. You only want to see you try. If you try, you might not necessarily solve all the problem, but you try, we find you have some effort. And a top 3 person, we ship it to you directly. It's an individual effort, non-group effort. You cannot have 10 person participate and say each person take 1 prize. No. This is something interesting project. I already done partially for you, almost done. I only ask you to further improve only. Today, if we have a system like, for instance, this is MMM, MMM candy. Yeah, let me make it bigger. MMM candy like this. So you can imagine today, if you take a mobile phone, to take one gamba, whatever, or something in the white background, in a control environment, because they is in a production world. Sometimes you want to automate something, you need to have a control environment, something with a proper background. For instance, if you want to count something, an auto count system, right, on number of coins, you have a lot of coins, let's say 10-cent coins on table. Can you have a system to visually auto count? I make it simple like this MMM because easier one round shape like that. You using this example, could we come up with a solution the system auto detect? If you can auto detect all those things, you can see the application is very wide. Can auto detect certain shape in the X-ray, a human X-ray. Yeah, can detect certain objects in the production floor. Can certain auto count certain objects, certain shape object in certain inventories, things like that. Now, I'm not going to ask you to do something complicated. Yeah, asking you to base on this picture only. Yeah, the rest is up to your imagination. So I run it. You run this. I run this now. Now, after that, I run this thing. I remove the small components. Yeah, of course, here do not have small components. Small component means that sometimes when I take pictures of especially X-ray, sometimes have little dots here and there. I say those small dots, please delete that away. I want to delete them away. Also, I want to binarize it. If you look at binarizations, it means that you want to convert your one-to-one kind of pictures into 2 colors called binarize, either 1 or 0. Yeah. So there are many methods available. If you do not put method, it automatically choose one of the methods for you. I say I want to choose a method called mean. I think better called mean. Why is method called mean? You go check out something, for instance, you highlight this one. Yeah, you right click, select something called get help. The system will give you entire information about this something called binarize. Say, how to pakai this binarize. Inside here, I also have a lot of good example. They also have how you show how to apply it in different kind of field, domain or application. A lot of similar kind of things are available. For instance, even come up with automation system by looking at this clock. You auto count what will be the time right now. Things like that. There's a lot of fancy actually tutorial available. So if we go inside and also tell them what this method means, yeah. When people do binarization, what does it mean called mean? But it doesn't matter. If I binarize it, I delete small components. After that, I say I want to convert it into a negated image. Negated means that I want the data black change to white, white change to black, easier. Because in this case, I only want the system focus on white color. So after I change like this, after that, I say I want to reduce the object into a single pixel. I don't want this one big round. I say, hey, can I actually make it distance transform? Yeah, say what it means distance transform. You look up documentation. This is common methods for expert use in computer vision. Not Wolfram language, no. People in computer vision, they have some methodology or algorithm. One of them called distance transform. Yeah. So we do this, it becomes something like small, become change to one dot. No? You go and get a center point of each of these little white color things. Yeah, become like that. One center point. After that, I say, hey, this white center point are very small, but can you give me the coordinate dot matrix? So in this case, we have something called component measures. You want to measure all the small dot in the dot matrix about what is the center's coordinate plus the size of these things. Yeah. So if I do this thing like that, I run this thing, it measures for me. Again, this solution, this something solution, I did it just a few hours ago. Yeah. So this is incomplete solution, incomplete, but the idea is there. Idea is there. Huh? So I show you the idea only. I purposely not to further make the code very nice. Yeah. But I make it step by step, so easier to understand. So after that, it showed to me, oh, I have actually how many counts? I have 1, 2, 3, all the way. The system counted 43 dots, no, 43 dots. And with the coordinate, XY coordinate for the pictures, and also measure this dot, how big this dot was smaller, either 1.1 pixel or 0.5. I'm not sure it's pixel or something. It's a way to measure the size, yeah, the size. So now in this case here, I say, please count the object, yeah. So the object here, this is my object, yeah. I'm only interested in the first part of data. Say this is the first part data. So I say, now give me all the information, but only interested first part data. I put 1. So the system give to me, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 43. So immediately one look and know, oh, inside here I got 43. Yeah. So if I somehow put in another command in front, I call max, right? Yeah. Like this, I say, give me a maximum number, say 43. Immediately I know I have 43 counts. So the system count for me 43 already right away. But I want to highlight it, say, hey, betul dah 43. Do you actually pick up all the data or not? Here, this one is something called highlight image. Yeah, I highlight which image? My original image, the MMM original image. And I've also put in some circle. A circle means I want a circle shape. And using this object, I put it all number 2. What's this all number 2 all about? If I put these things all number 2, right? Yeah, actually, this is the output result on top, number 2, right? Put it number 2. The system, you give me like this. You give me the coordinate, also the size. So I have these two pieces of information, coordinate and the size. So the systems know, oh, if I want to put one bulatan there, circle, I need to know the coordinate, I need to know the size. So the system, in this case, immediately it gives us highlight. What is more, as like I say, this solution is not complete. But you notice here, you give one little dot here. I count it, one in the middle. Because this little dot just now is the center point detected. It's a very small size. If you can do something in a whole highlight, it better. How does it do? Like I say, I purposely did not make this solution complete. But if you go up, check out this command called component measurements, right? Go get help. The system gives you a lot of examples how to achieve this result in a very nice manner. So in this case, like this is blood cell, human blood cell. Now, if I look at one example here, application, the system also same thing. You see this same approach. Now it shows up. This is one of the cells in the microscopic image. Later, you do auto count, yeah, using circle. So just start purposely did not make this thing. Only I circle it in the center point. Yeah? It's not that nice. Yeah? If you can actually circle it based on this thing, better. Also count how many cells are there. So all those actually solutions are there available already. So what I invite you to do is this thing, solution almost there. Now the question is, could you further make this whole solution I made, yeah, very preliminary solution, but actually it's quite complete already, into something more interactive, more informative, and user-friendly. Now, if you can send it to us to this email account before 16th September, National Holiday lah, yeah, Mathematica Day, right? This thing that we all celebrate. You also cannot go watch parade lah. The best is watch TV only ma, and YouTube. You also don't have TV already this day. You watch YouTube. YouTube means you can watch anytime lah. So morning time, after makan, right? Sit down, you can try a few hours. Hey, Peter say make it more interactive or informative or solution already have lah. How do we make it more useful? Try lah. Send to us. You say, hey, I tried already, but I'm not sure useful or not. If I can see your effort, also give to you lah. But sometimes also in the past, in a hackathon, 40 people in the class, right? 20 people participate only. So if I give away 10 prizes, right, your chances is 1 in 2 lah. So let's say you say I tried already, I did not know how I tried. You send in, so happen only 3% participate, I also give it to you lah. So today is encourage you to try. So today I think enough is already 1.5 hours. Yeah, thanks very much for participating. Like I promise it's 1 hour, 1.5 hour quick sessions. So hopefully that today give everyone a quick overview about this programming extension. Again, I do encourage you to take this chance. Again, we are not offering this thing in every semester, but the new semester is coming up, so that if we already have one school, nearly about 20-30 students are joining. So I hope that you also take this chance, join this semester also. You'll start very soon. Desmond, when the starting date? 24th of October, right? Or September, 24th of September. Yeah, just 3 more weeks from now, we're starting from module A. Then starting 24th of this September. So do check it out. Do check it out. I'll very much believe that if you sign up, you will not regret it. Yeah, you learn new techniques. So again, thanks very much. I hope to see you again. So stay safe and stay sound. We'll stay on the line for 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer in the chat room. Yeah, in the chat room. Okay, once again, thanks very much.